Back once again, only on its last call. Last call of the alcohol, only on the last call YouTube channel. Now, joining me here on the line, this man here, well, he is coming back home. It's going to be Rod Laver Arena. It is Haney versus Cambosos 2. And this man here will be in action against Norberto Jimenez. And, well, as he said, it's the boyhood dream of getting a fight in the major arena. And, well, he's going to be living it up. I give you once again all the way from Kingscliff, New South Wales, Australia. I give you Andrew Moloney. Andrew, so before we get to the fight, before we get to any of that here, when you got the news that, hey, you're fighting on Rod Laver Arena, and we already spoke to your brother about this, and he told me his reaction, but what was your reaction when when it hits you that you finally get to fight in basically Australia's version of Madison Square Garden, that you get to basically achieve something that every little kid wants to do in Australia and very few get to do?
Yeah, no, I was just absolutely over the moon. Firstly, that I'm fighting in Australia again, which is the second time in a row now after a long stretch fighting in America, which I also love. I still want to fight in America and continue. That is still the mecca of boxing in my opinion. But being able to fight at home in front of all our family and friends and everyone who's supported us over the years in these big fights at an amazing arena like Rod Laver, certainly very special. I feel like Rod Laver is like the perfect venue for boxing. It's a tennis center, so all the crowd is like right over the ring. They can fit a lot of people in there, and the atmosphere is just going to be amazing.
For those who, and as I said, your brother did a good job. I want your take on this here. For like, just forget about the fight itself. Like, as somebody who basically, you grew up in Australia. Like, how much does it mean to you that this is something that a lot of guys don't get to do? Like Michael Katsidis never has got to do this. Jeff Finich has never got to do this. I mean, for years it was like the only people got to do, you know, Rod Laver Arena, where guys like Rod Laver himself, Margaret Court, Leighton Hewitt. I mean, basically international tennis stars, and now you get to be on this here. I mean, when did it? Give me the moment when you all of a sudden you're doing the press conferences and you're walking in there with the family, and you stop being a fighter, you stop being an adult. It's like the little kid where you just want to run around, and go, "Oh my god, this is amazing! This is
Yeah.
awesome!"
Oh, well, we had that other fight, at Marvel Stadium, which was a massive thing here. Both these stadiums are in Melbourne, which is where I grew up. So you go to the tennis, you go to the footy, and you always dream about fighting in stadiums like that. And as you said, it doesn't happen very often. But twice in the 1 year, we've been able to fight in these huge stadiums in Melbourne, in Australia, with all our family and friends there, and it's just really, it feels like a special year for us, and all the hard work over the years is starting to pay off. And now we're involved in some big fights that will hopefully put us both into position to fight for world titles early next year. And yeah, all the hard work feels like it's starting to pay off, and we're really coming into the peak of our careers now, where some really special moments are ahead.
Even to your opponent, it's going to be underrated but very tough Norberto Jimenez. From what you've seen, and he's a Dominican fighter, which means he's going to come out and he's going to throw some big shots. Like, what does he bring to the table? Well, from a guy like this, who you look at his record, it's deceiving. Like, what makes him a good fighter?
Yeah, that's right. His record is definitely deceiving because he's got 9 losses on his record, but he started his career with like 1 win, 7 losses. So he actually has only lost once in the last 11 years, and that was when he fought for the world title against Kal Yafai. So he obviously, by the looks of his record, probably didn't have much of an amateur background, and learned his trade in the professionals, which is why he took quite a few losses. But yeah, in the last 11 years, he's only been beat the once, and he's fought some very good fighters. He just had a draw recently with Johnny Nitez, who's the 3 division world champion, a very good fighter himself. So he's a very good fighter. I'm expecting a tough fight, but watching him, I just don't see anything that he does better than myself. He's awkward in a way that he's quite tall for the division, quite long, quite rangy. But I feel like I'm going to be too strong for him, and I'll get through that distance and break him down, and earn my shot at a world title, hopefully.
How tough is that, though, when you have a guy like that who's just awkward? Like, he's not fluid. He's not one of these guys with southpaw. He does a lot of herky jerk stuff. And as we've seen from a very famous guy named Sam Solomon, that can cause problems because if he has no idea what he's really doing, you have no idea what he's going to do. It's like, okay, how the hell do I prepare for somebody who it's like a hummingbird on crack? You just try to guess and hope that, well, he might be in the right place, right time, but hell, he might be in a different place because, well, he has no idea. And it's just, as I said, it's like a hummingbird on crack.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think he's that awkward like the Sam Solomon reference there. Like that would be a nightmare to fight someone like Sam. But Jimenez is probably awkward in a way that his style is not really like someone I fought for quite a while. I've faced some guys similar to that sort of in the amateurs. I faced a lot of different styles in my amateur career, but it's been quite a long time since I fought someone with his sort of style. But I don't expect it to cause me any problems. I've had a great training camp. I really feel like I learned a lot over the last few years, and I really feel like I'm coming into the peak of my career now, and boxing better than ever. So I'm looking forward to showcasing that on October 15th. And Jimenez is rated very well. He's rated number 2 in the WBO, 3 in the WBC, and 8 in the WBA. So a win over him, I hope, earns me a shot at a world title next, because I really feel like I'm ready for that now. And this will be my 4th win in a row since the loss to Franco, and I really feel like I learned so much from that, and I plan on showing that in this fight.
Taking back to your last fight, it was once again a very impressive win over Alexander Espinoza. Once a sensational, basically, you could say referee, retired technical decision, but basically you beat the hell out of him and shut his eye out. What went right? Did anything go wrong? And what is that like when basically you pummel a guy to, in a sense, quit? Like he can't see, he can't do, he doesn't want to do it anymore. And he's going, yeah, I'm out, I can't do this.
There's something about my jab. I seem to land it on their eye. Um, it's not something I'm conscious of looking for, but that's the 3rd time now I've shut someone's eye with a jab. Um, and I hit him first round with a jab and saw his eye shut. And then from then on, he just looked like he didn't want to be in there anymore. I hit him with a really good right hand at the end of the 2nd round, and I think that's when he went back to his corner, and they all decided that enough's enough. He was taking too much punishment for so early in the fight. And yeah, I just feel like I'm really coming into my peak now. I broke him down very easily, even though I expected that to be a difficult fight. It ended up being a very easy one, and the way I've been in the gym this training camp, I'm hoping I can make what should be a hard fight against Jimenez into an easy fight on October 15th.
How big is that for you, the jab? Because I know we talked about, certain fights, especially with Franco, a lot of the time it was like, okay, I got away from this, or I got into a brawl, or I didn't, I started getting away from what I used to be and became something else. So these last 2 fights, how happy are you that it's back to, your bread and butter? You're getting back to establishing your style and not going, okay, I fell into another brawl, or it became just, a Donnybrook or slobber knocker. It's more you set up you set up your power shots with your jab, and it's basically what you've been doing for almost your whole career.
Yeah, no, that's right. You've nailed it there. I really feel like that's been the biggest improvement in my game, is that I know my style now. I sort of felt like I was maybe a little bit confused as to how I like to fight for a period there where, I made some mistakes and took a couple of losses on my record, but I feel like I've really found my style now, found what I'm comfortable with, and what works well for me. And it's almost back to what I was doing earlier in my career. But I feel like everything's improved. My jab is gone to a whole another level now, and everything comes off that. So yeah, I feel like I'm really ready now to fight for a world title and get hold of that belt and hold it for a very long time.
you mentioned before, but the goal is for world title. So where are you trying to go? Because right now you're looking around and it's sort of all right. Your WBC, there's two I guess champions, Juan Estrada and Jason Rodriguez. That's always a fun thing with them. WBA, Joshua Franco is still there. You got Fernando Montiel. You got WBO is Kazuto Ioka. Is there one champion you're looking at going, this is the guy because it's either more money, it's an easier fight, or it's going to be, and when I say easier fight, it's this is a fight that either you and Top Rank can make without having to go, well, include another network or a promoter that doesn't like you guys, or just boxing politics 101. It just, these things never work out because too many chefs, not enough cooks.
Yeah, honestly, I just want to fight for a world title as soon as possible, and I'm confident in my ability to beat any of those guys. So, whichever fight we can get the fastest, make happen as soon as possible, that's the one I want. But I've stated a few times now that Kazuto Oka is the guy I've been targeting. This fight is me at number 4 in the WBO. Jimenez is number 2. We're fighting for the WBO international title, so I'm hoping a win over him could possibly push me to the number 1 spot and mandatory to face Kazuto Oka. He's an excellent fighter, a 4 division world champ, and Australia and Japan have had a really good rivalry over the years in our boxing, and I'd love the opportunity to face him. I know that he usually fights on New Year's Eve, which is only 11 weeks after this fight. I'm not sure if he's already got an opponent locked in or not, but I'd be more than happy to win this fight and then 11 weeks later go straight to Japan and fight him on New Year's Eve over there and get that world title strapped around my waist and end what has been a great year in my life.
How much has this year for you been about just putting everything behind you? Because I know when we love the last 2 years, it was just a lot of just frustration, a lot of you know things that happen out of your control. So for this year, how much was just also mentally a better place where things are hopefully getting back to normal, politically with the mask, with all that other crap. You have two back-to-back wins. You got to fight in Australia. You're doing it again in Rod Laver Arena. Like how much of this year has been about just mentally being in a much better place after everything you've had to go through the last 2, 3 years with everything inside and outside the ring?
Yeah, it's been really good, and last December we consciously threw a fight in at the end of the year to make sure that I finished that year with a win, and we could set up a big year this year. And yeah, the last 12 months since that, getting that win, I feel like I found my feet again. I found my style. I've improved so much, and this will be my coming into my 4th fight in less than 12 months. So I've been really active, which is great because I'm in the gym all year round. I want to be fighting. I want to stay active. I don't want to be sitting on the sidelines waiting and waiting and waiting. I want to get on with my career and get that world title back as soon as possible. So this will be my 4th fight, in less than 12 months, and my 4th win in a row, if everything goes as I believe it should, and hopefully put me really, really close to being in the position to fight for a world title again as soon as possible. So everything's going great. Life's really good at the moment. I've just had a baby daughter just 2 weeks ago. Just about after this fight, moving into our first home as a family, and everything's going really, really good. The only missing ingredient is that world title around my waist, and I'm working hard every day to get that, make that happen, and get that strapped around my waist and hold on to it, as I said, for a very long time.
The elephant in the room. You and I talked about that. I know I talked with your brother about that, but like I mentioned again, certain fights you can't have right now because they're with other promoters. And one guy who has definitely been trying to make a push into Australia is Eddie Hearn.
Mm-hmm.
I know you with that Top Rank. I know you guys. It's been a good relationship. Is there? I mean, is there a thought of leaving just because? And you can go. Hey, you want Jason Estrada? I'll give you Jason Estrada next. Want Estrada? Well, let's make that happen. Australia, Estrada Moloney world title. Let's do that. Rod Laver Arena. You want Sor Rungvisai? We'll do that. You want an all English fight? Kid Khalid Yafai versus Andrew Moloney, Wembley Stadium. We're making it happen. I can promise that. Hell, he'll even go one further. Jason Bam Rodriguez, DAZN, we're putting that all the way in Madison Square Garden. I mean, he has these big names. He has, the relationship, but also Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. I mean, as you said, you have now another young kid who's now arrived in the family. You have your son. Is there a thought of, hey, I might need to go to promoter because if I want these big fights that offer big money, we're talking 6, 7 figures. If you're not with DAZN and with Eddie Hearn, you can't get some of those guys. It's the way boxing is. They're in their sandbox. You're in your sandbox, and yes, people can't play in other people's sandboxes, unfortunately.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't even had that thought in my mind at all. I'm so happy with the way Top Rank have looked after myself and my brother and the opportunities they've been giving me for the last few years that we've been together and headlining shows in America and fighting on these huge cards here in Australia. Honestly, couldn't be more happy with the way things are at Top Rank. My plan is to get hold of a world title, and then I'm sure we can make those fights happen that are with another promoter or another network. Once I've got a belt, they'll want to make those fights. And if it's not the WBO that I am, I'll force myself into a manager position for one of those other champions, and I'm sure those fights can be made. So haven't thought about that at all. More than happy with Top Rank and really thankful for what they've done for me and my brother over the last few years.
It all comes back down once again to it's going to be October 15th, and we talked about before. It's the big fight for you here. It's you, Andrew Moloney, versus Norberto Jimenez. It's an eliminator, Rod Laver Arena. Just like as we spoke to your brother and his opponent, Norberto Jimenez is probably going, hey, I have a huge advantage here. Andrew Moloney's got to worry about being the hometown kid, fighting in Rod Laver Arena. There's going to be ticket requests, after party requests, interviews, going to do TV shows. The family wants ringside tickets. There's probably that buddy from primary school, like from fifth, period, like, sciences hitting you up now. All of a sudden, you never heard of him again, but going, hey, Andrew, remember me? Good times on the pitch. Can I get tickets? Can you give me some tickets? Hook me up with tickets. I mean, you have all these distractions. He has none. How do you shut that out? How do you basically put all that, all the distractions outside and focus on the fight when you're basically dealing with all this and he just has to worry about, well, show him to Melbourne, Australia and fighting you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel, any sort of effect from any of those, what you'd say is distractions. I mean, we don't really have any control over tickets. They're all on the Ticket Tech website, so it's easy just to say, hey, I don't have the tickets, jump on there. I love fighting in front of a home crowd. I feel like that's a big advantage for me. There's no way I'm going to let this guy come here to my backyard and beat me in front of all my family and friends. So I don't see any disadvantage at all. But I do expect him to come very hungry. He's had 2 shots at the world title. One was a draw and one was a loss quite a few years ago now. So he's had to rebuild to get himself to this position. He already had an eliminator against Donny Nites and was a draw in that fight, but somehow Donny Nites got the shot and he didn't. So he's going to be very hungry to earn a shot at a world title again, but he won't be as hungry as me. I have everything to fight for in this fight. I know I cannot afford to lose, and there's no way I'm going to let him take this opportunity away from me and my family. There's just way too much on the line, and there's no way I'm going to let him get in the way of that belt being wrapped around my waist.
Well, there you have it. Once again, I give you one. It's going to be only on October 15th or October 16th. If you're in Australia, it's going to be Camboso's Haney 2. It is going to be Vismanvo against Norberto Jimenez. I give you once again Andrew Moloney. Andrew, before I let you go, where can fans check you out at? Where is the Twitter page, Instagram, the website, and who are the sponsors that have been helping you out through this fight camp?
Yeah, absolutely. Follow me along. I appreciate it. You can follow me at Andrew Moloney on all social media channels. Moloney's Moloney. And yeah, you can see on my shirt here, Forest One, our major sponsor. and the Plumbing and Pipe Trades Employees Union. Both those companies have been with us since the very start of our professional career, even back into our amateur days, actually. So without those two companies' support, there's no way we could compete at this level and train full time. So forever grateful for those two guys, as well as the rest of our sponsors that make this all possible. It's a team effort, and I look forward to getting hold of that world title, and that's my way of saying thank you for their support over the years.
Andrew Moloney, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always on a pleasure having him on the show. He'll be fighting once again October 15th or October 16th at Haney versus Cambosos 2, Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne, Australia. Check our time on local listings for details. We come back. A lot more going on here, only on It's Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol, only on the Last Call YouTube channel.